Level 1. You are 11 years old. You are sitting in the back seat of your father's car. It's a Saturday afternoon in October. Your father is driving you to a place he has not told you about. The drive is 40 minutes. You are watching the houses change as you leave your neighborhood, which is a nice neighborhood, and enter neighborhoods that are nicer, with longer driveways and bigger trees and gates at the ends of streets. Your father pulls into a small office park, a 2-story brick building, a modest sign that says Hartwell Capital Management. He turns to look at you. He says, "I want you to meet someone." You follow him into the building. There is a small reception area. The receptionist greets your father by name, and her face changes when she sees you, in a way you cannot identify, but the way is warm. She knows who you are. You have never been here before. You walk into a corner office. There is a man at the desk. He is in his 60s. Gray hair, neatly combed. He is wearing a suit, on a Saturday, in a way that does not feel formal, but instead feels habitual. His name is Robert. He shakes your hand. His hand is large and warm and dry. He says, "You must be the next generation." You do not know what he means. Robert opens a leather folder on his desk. Inside is a document. He turns it so you can see it. He points to a number near the top of the first page. The number is $1.5 million. Robert explains, in the calm, patient voice of a man who has explained this many times, that the account was set up for you when you were born. The account has been growing for 11 years. When you turn 25, you will receive the income from it. When you turn 35, you will receive the principal. You stare at the number. You are 11. You know what $100 is. You know that your weekly allowance is $15. You do not have the experience to translate $1.5 million into anything that makes emotional sense. But you can see that your father is watching you carefully. Something important is happening, and the something requires you to understand it, even though you cannot yet. You ask, "What is it for?" Robert smiles. He says, "It's for your life. Whatever you need. The fund is here so that you do not have to worry about those things the way other people worry about them." You nod. You leave the office. Your father drives you home in silence. You realize, that night, lying in your bed, that something has happened. You went to a building you did not know existed. You met a man you did not know existed. The number, whatever it is yours. The number was put there for you, before you were old enough to understand it was being put there. This is the first thing nobody tells you about being an heir. The inheritance starts before you know it exists. Someone, before you can understand what is happening, has decided you will not have the life that other people have. You will have a different life. The different life has been arranged for you. The earliest version of you, the one who could not yet read, was already a person with $1.5 million set aside for him. You go to school the next Monday. You do not tell anyone. You sit in your 5th grade classroom, and the entire time you are aware of something the other children are not aware of. You are aware that the world has been arranged for you in advance. The verb at level 1 is receive. Not consciously, not gratefully. Receive in the sense that someone has handed you something before you knew there was anything to be handed. You did not have to be a particularly good child or a particularly smart child. You just had to be born. Level 2. You are 24. The number is now $15 million. You are standing in the kitchen of an apartment that you do not technically own. The apartment is in your name. The apartment was bought 3 years ago by an entity controlled by your family and transferred to you when you turned 21. The apartment has a view of a park. The apartment is the kind of apartment that, if your friends knew the rent, would change how they spoke to you. Your friends do not know the rent. The apartment is owned outright. You are wearing a t-shirt and pajama pants. You are, in every visible respect, a normal 24-year-old. You graduated from college 18 months ago. You took a job at a consulting firm because everyone you knew was taking a job. The salary, around $80,000 a year, felt to you like a real amount of money even though you knew, technically, that it was not your real income. Your real income comes from the trust. The income is, this year, around $350,000. The income arrives in your account every quarter. The income does not change your life. This is the part that confuses people who are not heirs. You expected, when you turned 21 and started receiving the income, that something would shift. You expected to feel rich. You expected to feel free. The world had already been available to you. You had grown up inside the availability. When the income started, you simply gained the technical ability to pay for what had always been there. You go to your job. Your colleagues do not know about the trust. Your boss does not know. The not telling is automatic. You learned, at some point in your teenage years, that the trust was a thing you did not discuss with people who did not have one. The not discussing was just what you observed your parents doing and what your parents' friends did. The income is not really for you. The income is for the slow training of you into the person who will, eventually, be capable of managing the actual inheritance. The $350,000 per year is, in the vocabulary your family uses without ever quite saying it out loud, an apprenticeship. You are being apprenticed to wealth. Most people fail this apprenticeship. The failures are quiet. Most heirs at this level develop habits that do not survive into the larger inheritance. They buy expensive things. They develop expensive friend groups. They make a series of small decisions that, individually, do not seem to matter, but that, accumulated, produce a person who cannot manage what is coming next. You are aware of this risk. Your father has told you, in conversations you do not realize at the time are deliberate, about cousins who failed. The cousin who is now 37 and has spent her quarterly checks for 15 years. The cousin who tried to start a restaurant. The cousin who became a yoga instructor in Bali because Bali was where the trust money felt furthest from the family. You do not want to be a cautionary tale. So you go to the consulting job. You do the work. You live in the apartment that is yours, but that you are not allowed to fully feel is yours. The verb at level 2 is conceal. Not lie. Not pretend. Conceal. You hold two parallel lives. The visible life is the consulting job, the t-shirt and pajama pants Sunday morning. The invisible life is the trust, the apartment owned outright, the cousins who failed, the inheritance that is coming. The two lives do not cross. The crossing is what produces the cousins who failed. Level 3. You are 32. The first major distribution arrives. The major distribution is $12 million, transferred to you on your 32nd birthday from a structure your grandfather set up 40 years ago. The $12 million is yours, in the technical sense that it is now in an account that is in your name. The $12 million is also, in a different sense, not yours. The $12 million is the family's, on loan to you for your lifetime, with the expectation that you will manage it in a way that allows you to pass an equivalent or larger amount to the next generation. You sit with the $12 million for a few months before you do anything with it. The doing nothing is, you realize later, exactly the right move. The cousins who failed are the cousins who, at this moment, did something. They bought a vineyard. They funded a friend's startup. The doing was the failure. You meet, during these months, with a financial advisor who has worked with your family since before you were born. He is the third generation of advisor for the third generation of your family. He explains what the $12 million can and cannot do. The $12 million can produce, conservatively invested, around $400,000 a year of income. Combined with your trust income, your real annual income is now around $750,000. By the standards of your peers, this is enormous. By the standards of your family, it is a starting point. The starting point is the language your family uses. The $12 million is not the inheritance. The $12 million is the part of the inheritance you are now trusted to manage on your own. The remainder will come in pieces over the next 20 years, contingent in some informal way on the proper handling of this first installment. You begin to understand why the inheritance is structured this way. Wealth, when given all at once to a person who is not ready, almost always evaporates. Your grandfather knew this. He structured the trusts to release in pieces. The trustees do not enforce this contingency through lawsuits. The contingency is enforced through the slow social dynamics of the family. If you mishandle the $12 million, your father will know. The other family members will know. You will not be cut off. You will simply be, in a slow accumulating way, less involved in the family's larger decisions. This is the third thing nobody tells you about being an heir. The family is the actual trustee. The legal trusts and the lawyers and the advisors are the visible enforcement. The invisible enforcement, the one that actually shapes your behavior, is the family. The family is watching. The watching is not surveillance. The watching is just the natural attention that families pay to each other. But the watching, in a wealthy family, has weight. You manage the $12 million conservatively. You invest in index funds. You allocate a small portion to a more aggressive position. You do not buy a vineyard or fund a friend's startup or move to a different country. You are demonstrating. The demonstration is the work of level 3. The verb at level 3 is demonstrate. You demonstrate, through small consistent decisions over years, that you are the kind of person who can be trusted with the next installment. The cousins who failed did not demonstrate. They acted instead. The acting was the failure. The not acting is the entire game. Level 4. You are 41. You are sitting on the board of the family foundation. The foundation was started by your grandfather in 1968. The foundation has, in 57 years, given away approximately $200 million to causes the family cares about. The family name has, over the decades, become attached to specific buildings at specific universities, specific wings at specific museums, specific scholarships at specific schools. You did not earn this recognition. The recognition was inherited along with the rest of the inheritance. You walk into rooms now, and people you have never met know your name. You are sitting on the board because, 3 years ago, your father retired and you took his seat. The seat is not a job. The seat is a responsibility. You attend 4 meetings a year. You read materials. You vote on grant decisions. The work of the board is mostly about saying no. This is something you did not understand when you joined. You assumed the work was about choosing which good causes to fund. The work is, in fact, about choosing which good causes to not fund. The foundation has a fixed annual budget of around $8 million. The number of organizations that send proposals would consume 80 million if the foundation said yes to all of them. The proposals come from organizations that are, almost without exception, doing good work. The Medical Research Center, the Youth Education Program, the Arts Organization, the Environmental Nonprofit. You are sitting in a conference room, 4 times a year, with 8 other family members and 3 professional advisors, deciding which of the good works will be funded and which will not. This is the 4th thing nobody tells you about being an heir. Somewhere around the middle levels, you stop being a recipient of wealth and start being an allocator of it. The shift is gradual. There is no specific moment when it happens. But by 41, you have, as a family member with a board seat, decision power over more annual giving than most people will ever earn in their lifetimes. The deciding changes you. You start to think about giving the way professional philanthropists think about it. You start to ask questions about effectiveness, scale, leverage. You also start to realize that the foundation is not separate from the family wealth. The foundation is the public-facing version of the family wealth. The verb at level 4 is steward. You are no longer just receiving. You are no longer just demonstrating. You are now stewarding, on behalf of the family, a set of resources that are in some sense yours and in some sense not yours. You did not apply for this job. The job was assigned to you by birth. Level 5. You are 53. The full inheritance has now been distributed. The full inheritance, when it was finally added up, came to approximately $120 million. The number is real. The number is also somewhat misleading, because most of it is held in structures that constrain how it can be used. There are trusts for your children. There are trusts for your future grandchildren. There are positions in the family foundation. There are interests in family operating businesses managed by other family members. You are, at this level, fully integrated into the architecture of the family wealth. You are on 3 boards. You attend meetings. You read materials. You make decisions in cooperation with other family members. You also begin to understand something about the family that you did not understand before. The family is not just a group of people who share a last name. The family is, at this level, an institution. The institution has been operating for 4 generations. Encoded in it is a set of rules and habits and expectations that are not written down anywhere, but that everyone in the family follows. Rules about how to dress for family events, how to speak about money in public, how to handle requests from outside the family, how to handle marriages with people from different backgrounds. The rules are not enforced. The rules are followed. The following is the entire mechanism. You realize, around 53, that you have been following the rules your entire life without consciously knowing they were rules. You learn them by watching your parents. They learn them by watching theirs. This is the 5th thing nobody tells you about being an heir. At the deeper levels of inheritance, you are no longer inheriting money. You are inheriting an institution. The institution has a name, a history, a set of practices, a set of people inside it. The money is the resource the institution uses to continue. The institution is the actual asset. The money would, without the institution, evaporate within 2 generations. With the institution, The money has now persisted across 4 generations and is structured to persist across at least 3 more. The verb at level 5 is integrate. The integration is not a choice you made on a specific day. The integration happened slowly, through small acts of participation across decades. The integration changes how you think about your children. Your children, when they were born, were already inside the institution. Your job, as their parent, is to teach them the rules, the same way your parents taught you, without ever explaining that they were teaching you rules. Level 6. You are 64. You are now the senior generation. The senior generation is the small group of family members in their 60s and 70s who are, at any given moment, the active stewards of the family. Above you are members in their 80s who have stepped back. Below you are members in their 30s and 40s who are still demonstrating and stewarding at lower levels. The senior generation is the group that makes the largest decisions. You participate, this year, in a multi-day family meeting. The meeting includes all family members over the age of 25. There are 63 people in the room. The meeting is held at the family compound, which is a property the family has owned for 90 years. The agenda items: the succession plan for the family foundation, the disposition of an operating company that has been in the family for 50 years and is no longer profitable, the structure of the trusts for the youngest generation, who are the great-grandchildren of your grandfather, the renovation of the family compound, which has not been substantially updated since 1981. You speak, on each item, with the weight of someone whose opinion matters. The weight is real. Your opinion does matter. The other senior family members listen carefully when you speak. They listen because you have, over 4 decades of integration into the family, demonstrated that your judgment is sound. The judgment is the asset at this level. This is the 6th thing nobody tells you about being an heir. The work, at the most senior levels, is the protection of the family across generations. The protection is mostly invisible. The protection consists of getting the small decisions right, year after year, in ways that allow the family to continue. The succession of the foundation chair. The handling of a marriage with someone from outside the family. The slow management of family members who have struggled. The conversations that need to happen between cousins who have grown distant. The verb at level 6 is protect. You protect the institution. You protect the structures that hold the wealth. You protect the relationships that hold the family. You protect the small, specific traditions that make the family a family rather than a collection of distant relatives who share a last name. You are 64. You are aware, in a way that your 41-year-old self was not, that the work has a horizon you will not see. The decisions you make this year will affect family members who will be born in 50 years. The decisions are the bridge between you and them. Level 7. You are 78. You have been an heir for 67 years. The math does something to you when you say it out loud. 67 years. From the 11-year-old in the back seat of the car to the senior figure now sitting in the same office where Robert sat 6 decades ago, with a different lawyer who is the grandson of Robert, explaining to your 11-year-old great-grandnephew about the trust that has been set up for him. The cycle has come full circle. You are now playing the role that Robert played for you. The 11-year-old great-grandnephew is in the back seat of his father's car, on the way home, lying awake tonight in his bed, trying to make sense of a number he is too young to understand. He will figure it out. The figuring out will take decades. You think, often now, about your own grandfather. Your grandfather died when you were 17. You did not know him well. You knew him as a quiet older man who came to family events. You did not know him, then, as the person who had, in 1968, set up the foundation. You did not know him as the person who had structured the original trusts that would eventually become the inheritance you received. You did not know him as the architect of the institution you have spent your life integrated inside. You know him now. You know him through the documents you have read, through the small specific decisions you have come across in your stewardship work that bear the unmistakable signature of his judgment. The clause in a foundation document that has, 8 times over the decades, prevented a problem that would have damaged the family. He was thinking about you when you did not exist. He was thinking about your great-grandnephew who is now lying in his bed trying to make sense of a number. He was thinking about the great-grandchildren of the great-grandnephew who will be born in 2090. The thinking was the gift. The money was the vehicle. This is the 7th thing nobody tells you about being an heir. The inheritance is not what you receive. The inheritance is what you choose to continue. Every generation of an heir family makes a decision, mostly unconsciously, about whether to continue the institution or to let it dissolve. The decision is made through small daily acts, through whether you go to the family meetings, through whether you teach your children the rules without explaining that they are rules, through whether you accept the board seat when your father retires from it, through whether you, when the 11-year-old is sitting in your office, take the time to explain the number with the same patience that Robert took with you. The continuation is the inheritance. The verb at level 7 is continue. The simple sustained continuation of an institution across generations. Without the continuation, the institution dissolves. With the continuation, the institution persists for another generation, and then another, and then another. The cycle continues because, in 1958, your grandfather started it. The cycle will continue into a future you cannot see because of the small decisions you made today. The payoff. So let's pull this together. At level 1, receive. The inheritance starts before you know it exists. At level 2, conceal. You hold two parallel lives. At level 3, demonstrate. You earn the next installment through the discipline of doing nothing remarkable. At level 4, steward. You allocate, on behalf of the family, resources that are in some sense yours and in some sense not. At level 5, integrate. You become a functioning member of the family as institution. At level 6, protect. You make decisions today that will affect family members not yet born. At level 7, continue. You pass the institution to the next generation, slightly intact, slightly improved if possible. Here is the thing nobody on YouTube will tell you about being an heir. The inheritance is not the money. The money is the easiest part. The money can be transferred with a few signatures. The actual inheritance is the institution, which cannot be transferred with signatures. The institution is transferred through decades of small daily acts. Most heir families lose the money within 3 generations. The money goes the same way every time. Someone in the 2nd or 3rd generation does not learn the rules. They make decisions that look reasonable in isolation, but that, together, dissolve the structures that held everything together. The families that persist are the families where every generation, without exception, continues the institution. If you are watching this video and you are not an heir, the message is that you can, if you choose to, become the first link in a chain that produces heirs 4 generations from now. The first link does the hardest work. The first link operates without precedent. The first link writes the rules that will be followed, without explanation, by people who will not be born for 50 years. Most first links never finish the work. The first links who do finish become, in retrospect, the founders of dynasties. If you are watching this video and you are an heir, the message is that the work is real. The conceal at level 2. The demonstrate at level 3. The steward at level 4. The integrate at level 5. The protect at level 6. The continue at level 7. The work is not about the money. The work is about the institution. Somewhere right now, an 11-year-old is sitting in the back seat of a car. The car is driving them to a building they have never been to before. They will, in a few minutes, learn about a number that has been waiting for them since they were born. They do not know yet that the number is the smallest part of what they are about to inherit. If this video changed how you think about wealth across generations, hit subscribe. We have more videos like this on the channel, each one breaking down a different path that wealth takes through families and across time. See you in the next one.